Right, so picture this. You've got like this killer idea for an app, right? Something that could like totally change the game.
Uh-huh.
But there's just one problem. You don't know how to code.
Right.
And that's where Trae AI comes in,
Yeah.
promising to make building apps as easy as just talking to a friend.
Yeah.
Today we'll be taking a deep dive into Trae AI and what it could mean for the future of software development.
Absolutely. So Trae AI at its core is an AI-powered integrated development environment, or ID.
Okay?
And IDs are essentially the software playgrounds where developers write code.
Right.
But Trae AI adds a really interesting twist. It leverages AI to do a lot of the heavy lifting, predicting what you want to do,
Uh,
automating those repetitive tasks, and even catching those pesky errors before they even become a problem.
so it's like having like a super smart coding buddy looking over
Yes.
your shoulder,
Yeah.
making sure you don't mess things up.
That's a great way to put it. And it goes beyond just error checking. Think about those times when you're stuck on a coding problem and you just can't figure out the right syntax.
Right.
Or function tray AI can actually step in and generate code snippets based on your description of what you want to achieve.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty remarkable.
That's wild. So if I'm understanding this correctly, Trae AI is like a blend of an IDE and an AI assistant all rolled into one.
Yeah.
What are two of the core features it offers?
Well, there's Builder Mode, which provides a guided experience for creating new projects. It's like having a set of training wheels for app development.
Gotcha.
Then there's the AI-powered code generation we talked about, which can save you a ton of time and frustration. And one of the most innovative features is its multimodal input capability. Instead of just relying on text-based commands, Trae AI can actually understand and interpret images.
Wait, images. How does that even work?
It's pretty mind-blowing. Imagine you want to create a button on your app instead of having to write out the code for that button.
Yeah.
You could simply show Trae AI an image of a button,
Wow.
and it would understand what you mean and generate the corresponding code.
So you could essentially design the visual elements of your app
Yes,
using images, and Trae AI would handle the coding behind the scenes.
that's right.
That's incredible. What does this mean for people who are just starting out with coding?
It has the potential to make app development much more accessible to a wider audience. Imagine being able to create a fully functioning app without needing to learn the intricacies of a programming language.
So is this the no-code revolution everyone's been talking about, the end of coding as we know it?
It's definitely a step in that direction, but it's probably more accurate to think of it as an evolution rather than a revolution.
Okay.
While Trae AI can certainly handle a lot of the technical aspects of coding, there's still a need for human creativity, problem solving, and understanding the underlying logic of software development.
But with AI taking on more of the technical burden, does that mean coding will become less about mastering syntax and more about design and problem solving?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll delve into further as we continue our deep dive. It raises a lot of interesting points about how AIs might reshape the very definition of what it means to be a coder.
That's definitely something I'm curious to explore. Speaking of exploring, Trae AI also offers real-time collaboration features, right?
Yes, it does.
What does that look like in practice?
Imagine working on a project with your team,
Yeah.
and everyone can see the code being written in real time with Trae AI making suggestions and catching errors as you go. It streamlines the development process and fosters a much more collaborative environment.
So it's like having an AI-powered facilitator,
Yeah.
guiding the whole development process.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like it could lead to some pretty impressive results in terms of speed and efficiency. But let's be real for a second. Even with AI, there are bound to be some bumps in the road, right?
Sure.
What happens when the AI makes a mistake?
That's a valid concern, and it's important to remember that Trae AI, like any tool, has its limitations. Even with its advanced capabilities, it's still in its early stages of development.
Right.
And while it can be incredibly helpful, it's crucial for developers to maintain a critical eye and not become overly reliant on the AI.
So it's all about finding that balance, right? Leveraging the power of AI while still maintaining human oversight and control.
Yes.
It makes you wonder what role companies like Google are playing in all of this. I mean, they're heavily invested in AI research, especially with their large language models. Are those models being used to refine AI coding tools like Trae AI?
Absolutely. Google's work with LLMs is playing a huge role in advancing the capabilities of AI coding tools. These models are trained on massive data sets of code, allowing them to understand the nuances of different programming languages and generate highly accurate code suggestions.
So essentially, Google's LLMs are like the brains behind the brains, helping to make Trae AI even smarter and more capable.
Yeah, you could say that.
It's fascinating to think about how these technologies are evolving so rapidly. It makes you wonder, what's the future of all this? Could we reach a point where coding is as easy as describing what we want to train AI and watching it magically bring our ideas to life.
It's certainly a possibility, but it's important to remember that the future of AI coding is still being written. It's a dynamic field with immense potential, but there are still many challenges and unknowns. What's clear is that AI is transforming the landscape of software development in profound ways, and it's an incredibly exciting time to be a part of this evolution.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into Trae AI. We've explored its capabilities, its potential to democratize coding, and the crucial role human oversight plays in its development. But we've also touched upon the potential downsides and the need for careful consideration as we venture further into this AI-powered world. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this. What's been the most surprising or intriguing aspect of Trae AI for you so far?
Well, I think what strikes me most is the potential for Trae AI to change who gets to participate in building the future.
Oh yeah,
If coding becomes more about problem solving and design thinking,
right.
it opens doors for people from all sorts of backgrounds, not just those with traditional coding expertise.
So someone with a great idea but zero coding knowledge could actually bring their vision to life with Trae AI.
Yeah.
That's quite a shift.
Yes, and it raises interesting questions. If you're not writing the code yourself, line by line,
Yeah,
how deep does your technical understanding need to be? Can you truly create sophisticated software without that granular knowledge?
I see what you mean. It's like the difference between knowing how to drive a car versus understanding how the engine works.
Uh-huh.
You can get from point A to point B without being a mechanic, but at what point do you need to, pop the hood, so to speak?
Exactly. There will always be a need for those who understand the intricacies of the system.
Right.
But Trae AI could empower a whole new generation of software architects who focus on the big picture, the user experience, the problem being solved,
Uh-huh.
the overall design and functionality.
So it's not about replacing developers entirely, but rather changing the types of skills that are most valuable in this new landscape.
Right.
I'm curious, what do you see as the essential skills for success in this AI-augmented future of coding?
The ability to think critically and solve problems will be paramount. You'll need to clearly articulate your vision to the AI,
Yeah,
understand its limitations, and guide it toward the desired outcome.
right.
It's almost like being a conductor leading an orchestra of AI tools to create a symphony of software.
That's a great analogy. You're not just writing code, you're composing a complex system, using AI as your instrument.
And that's where creativity comes in.
Okay,
With Trae AI handling, the technical gruntwork developers can focus on exploring innovative solutions,
right.
designing elegant user interfaces,
Yeah.
and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
So it's like AI is freeing us up to be more human in our approach to software development, focusing on those uniquely human qualities like imagination and ingenuity.
Precisely. And this shift doesn't just benefit those new to coding. For seasoned developers, it's an opportunity to level up their skills,
Uh-huh.
specialize in areas like AI integration or complex system design, and become the architects of truly groundbreaking software.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential upsides, democratizing access to coding,
Right.
fostering creativity, empowering both new and experienced developers.
Uh-huh.
But it would be irresponsible of us not to acknowledge the potential downsides. Earlier, you mentioned the importance of not becoming overly reliant on AI. What are some other challenges we need to be aware of as we delve deeper into this AI-powered world?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is ensuring the reliability and safety of the code that AI generates. AI systems can make mistakes,
Right?
and those mistakes could have real-world consequences,
Uh-huh.
especially when we're talking about software that controls critical infrastructure or medical devices.
So it's not enough to simply trust that the AI will get it right. We need systems in place to rigorously test and validate the code it produces, just like we do with human-written code.
Absolutely. And we need to develop clear ethical guidelines for the development and deployment of AI coding tools. We need to ask ourselves, what are the potential biases baked into these systems? How do we ensure transparency and accountability?
Those are crucial questions, and they highlight the fact that as exciting as this technology is, we need to approach it with a sense of responsibility and caution.
Right.
Another concern that often comes up when talking about AI is the potential for job displacement. As AI becomes more capable of handling coding tasks, is there a risk that human developers could be pushed out of the equation?
It's a valid concern, and it's something we need to be mindful of as we navigate this topological transition.
Okay.
But I believe that rather than simply replacing jobs, AI will primarily change the nature of those jobs, creating new opportunities that require different skill sets.
So it's less about jobs disappearing and more about them evolving.
Exactly. Think about the invention of the automobile. It led to the decline of the horse-drawn carriage industry,
Yeah,
but it also created countless new jobs in manufacturing, transportation, and related fields.
right?
Similarly, AI is likely to disrupt the software development industry,
Uh-huh.
but it will also create a demand for new types of expertise.
So the key is to be adaptable, to stay ahead of the curve, and learn the skills that will be in high demand in this AI-powered future. What advice would you give to those who are feeling a bit apprehensive about this shift,
Yeah.
who are worried about being left behind?
The most important thing is to embrace a mindset of life more learning. The skills that are valuable today may not be the same skills that are in demand 5 or 10 years from now. We need to be continuously learning, adapting, and expanding our knowledge base.
That's great advice. It's not about resisting change. It's about riding the wave and figuring out how to harness its power to our advantage. I love the idea of reframing this shift from something to be feared to something to be embraced, a chance to explore new possibilities and unlock new potentials. So with that in mind, let's dive into the final part of our deep dive and explore some of those specific possibilities in more detail. So we've talked about AI's big impact on coding and what skills we'll need. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What are some real opportunities out there for people who want to ride this AI wave?
Well, for starters, the field of AI app development itself is booming. Someone has to build these amazing tools we've been talking about, and that requires a deep understanding of both AI and software engineering.
So if you're already a coder, this could be your chance to level up, become the AI whisperer who makes the magic happen.
Exactly, but it's not just about hardcore coding anymore. There's a growing need for people who can bridge the gap
Ah,
between technical teams and business needs, folks who can translate those. I wish there was an app that ideas into a clear roadmap for AI development.
wouldn't that require a pretty solid technical background, though? How much coding knowledge do you really need to thrive in this space?
That's where things get interesting. The lines are blurring. You might not need to write code from scratch,
Right.
but you'll need to understand the logic, the possibilities, and the limitations of AI. It's more about being a software architect than a bricklayer.
Okay, so there's the app creation side, but what about the impact on existing industry? How is AI changing the game for businesses that aren't necessarily tech-focused?
Think of any industry that relies on software, healthcare, finance, manufacturing. AI is streamlining processes, automating tasks, and revealing insights that were previously buried in mountains of data.
Wow.
This means businesses need people who understand how to leverage AI to optimize their operations,
Uh-huh.
make better decisions, and ultimately stay ahead of the curve.
So it's almost like every company is becoming a tech company in a sense, whether they realize it or not. What does that mean for someone who's maybe not a developer but has a strong understanding of a particular industry?
It means there's a huge opportunity to become an AI translator, someone who can connect the dots between AI capabilities and specific business challenges.
Okay.
They can analyze data, identify areas where AI can make a real impact, and help implement solutions that drive real results.
It sounds like a blend of industry expertise, analytical skills, and a dash of that AI intuition we've been talking about.
Exactly.
Like being a digital detective using AI to uncover hidden opportunities and solve business mysteries.
And here's the most exciting part. We're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Wow.
As AI continues to evolve, we'll see entirely new jobs emerge that we haven't even conceived of yet.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired, who want to dive into this world of AI-powered possibilities, what advice would you give them? Where should they start?
First and foremost, don't be intimidated. AI might seem complex, but there are tons of resources available for beginners.
Right.
Online courses, tutorials, communities, just start exploring and find what clicks for you.
It's like learning any new language. Take it one step at a time, be patient with yourself, and celebrate those small victories along the way.
And never underestimate the power of curiosity. Ask questions, experiment. Don't be afraid to break things virtually, of course. The more you play and explore, the more comfortable you'll become with this amazing technology.
That's great advice. It's not about becoming an AI expert overnight. It's about embracing that spirit of learning and discovery.
And who knows, you might be the one who creates the next groundbreaking AI tool or uses AI to solve a problem that's been stumping us for years. The future is wide open, and it's being shaped by those who are bold enough to dive in.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of trained AI and AI-powered coding, remember this coding used to be a skill. Now it's a conversation between humans and machines, between creativity and logic, between the world we know and the future we're building together. And the most exciting part, you're invited to join the conversation. So go explore the amazing world of AI. Who knows what incredible things you might discover.